Okay, there's a colony of apes that live right up at the top, and if the apes leave Gibraltar, then the rock will revert back to Spanish, but it's, I think, British owned or British controlled at the moment. It may have done it already, I don't know, but at that time that was the thing. So we went up to see the apes, and then there's huge big caverns halfway down. And we got to go in and see those too. We didn't have long to there, we had to get back. And we stopped at Aden, which is now, I think it's not called Aden anymore. I can't think what it's called
Is that
now.
in Syria or someplace like that?
I don't know. I did know the new name. We also stopped at Colombo, which is now Sri Lanka. And I think then our next stop was Singapore. And then the troop ship continued on up to Hong Kong, but we got off at Singapore.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Did you get into any mischief?
Yeah, but my father was very unusual. That he was taken three daughters, and I've been the youngest at 14, but my sister was 18 and the other one was 19 on the troop ship. Now, come on, he was called up every day. nothing, nothing terribly bad, but Sergeant Cronin, would you please control your girls? All good fun.
Brave man to take three lovely daughters on a troop ship.
Well, he wangled it because technically my two sisters were too old to go, but he said the oldest one had to go to take care of my mom, and he couldn't leave the middle one alone on her own, and I was too young. I was still of age to travel, so he worked it. But it was most unusual for them to be allowed to go. My two sisters, that is.
And about what period of time did you live in Singapore?
It was like 1958. Well, let's say 1959 through 60, because it was just on the end of the year when we went, and we actually had Christmas on the boat coming back.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was fun.
Now, as a child, did you have any favorite foods or meals?
No, you just didn't.
What kinds of things did you eat?
Just normal chicken, beef. One thing we used to have that sounds so disgusting now would be a cow's heart. I remember that.
Did you like that?
I did. I did. I don't think I'd eat it now, but I did then. Yeah, but that's about the only thing that, fish, salmon. They used to get the odd salmon when they came up to spawn.
Okay. Were there any special remedies that you remembered your family using when you were sick?
I don't, because thank God I've always enjoyed excellent health. I other than flu now and again, I really have never been sick.
That's lucky.
Yes, thank God. So
Okay.
I don't remember anything like that out of the ordinary because it never applied to me.
No local cures or anything like that? No.
No, I was very healthy.
Okay. What were some of the significant local events that you celebrated in your town?
The only one that sticks out is St. Patrick's Day.
And how did you celebrate?
Oh, going to church and then the local pipe band, because we came into the town at this end, and the church was way at the other end next to the convent, and the band would be outside and it would pipe all the way down to the monument, and at the monument is where it turned around, and it's where we made a left to go out to where we lived. So I remember that, and the feshes would come. My sister was an excellent dancer. She got many medals for her dancing. I was too impatient, and they wanted me to learn the slow ones, and I wanted to do the hornpipe right away, so I never learned. But my sister is an excellent dancer.
Wow.
The oldest one.
Uh-huh. And how about Christmas and Easter? Were there any significant?
No, I remember, just the normal, but it's no different than when I celebrate Christmas here or in England. It's the same things. We got a tree, and we didn't have the decorations that we used to have, or that we have here, obviously, but we decorated with crepe paper and anything that we thought would look good on it. But mostly homemade stuff.
Did you use holly?
Yes, holly was a big thing. We would go out and get fresh holly, pick it somewhere out in the country, anywhere you saw it, and holly would be brought in and put along the top of the doors, any pictures hanging, anywhere you could stick it. And we always had a candle, a red candle or a green candle that was lit every night in the window. Yeah.
And did you celebrate St. Stephen's Day?
Oh, yeah.
What did you do for that?
Well, me personally, no, but it was a holiday, and then I forget what the name of it was. They would go around with the crepe paper on the bushes, and they do something about the wren, the king of all birds. Caught, I don't know it, but they'd sing, and like strolling minstrels type of thing. That was fun.
And how about Halloween? Did you celebrate Halloween?
Kind of. It wasn't that big, but now and again we'd be dunking for apples and have nuts, and they'd put the ring in the cake and a sixpence, and whoever got it, of course, probably almost choked, but you got to keep the money if you bit on it. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the area that you're from, is that a Gaeltacht area?
Is it a what?
Gaeltacht area, an Irish-speaking area?
No,
No. Can you speak any Irish?
not anymore.
Did you study it in school?
We did, and when the school leaving exam, half of it was in Gaelic and half of it was in English, and we went and really crammed, but I scraped through. Scraped through. I do have a certificate though, and one side's in English and the other's in Gaelic. Yeah.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't compulsory, it was elective, whether you took that examiner or not. But I did it.
And you didn't keep it up once you...
No, and I really didn't speak it well enough then. I mean, just enough to scrape through the exam. I wish I had. I'd love to do it. Yeah, I'd love to get up the nerve to come down and learn it here, but nobody will come with me.
You should come on your own.
I know. I'm not brave.
Does your family have any special sayings or expressions?
I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know. Probably there's a lot that we just do without thinking about, but I really don't know.
Okay. Let's see. What's your fondest memory of your childhood?
The summers and being out in the fields with no shoes on, with a dog. That was me.
Okay.
Yeah. And you never had to worry, Nobody worried if you were gone all day. Did wonder where you were and what you were getting up to, but not worrying in the kind that were you safe. And that's the sad part about today, that the kids can't just be kids. You have to worry. They have to worry. Yeah.
Okay, here. Do you have any family heirlooms that have been handed down from generation to generation?
I have one. My mother was a great needlewoman. I guess all her years in the hospital, she became really good. And I wish I'd had more, but I have one small embroidered tablecloth that I treasure. And I'd love to, it's starting to show its age now, and I'd love to find somebody to restore it. I just pulled it out the other day to show my sister, and she says, "Where did you get that?" But I was the last one at home, you see. So, but a lot of the stuff that she did, that, we think back how beautiful it was, and I guess she gave it away, and, she didn't think anything of it. She just gave it away, especially when we were leaving Ireland. If we'd have stayed, we probably would have retained a lot more, but she got rid of everything, because, we couldn't bring that much with us. So we just had one great big auction, and everything was gone. And the rest of the stuff she gave away.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a lovely treasure, though, that you've
I know. I do treasure it, and I'm going to find somebody to restore it, because it's like a linen, and it has a centerpiece, and then the four corners all has her hand embroidery on it.
What kind of a motif?
Flowers and birds. Yeah. She had one that I remember that she used all the time, and it had a cottage and a donkey and a turf, and there was a bush with red berries on it. And even as a child, I loved that, and I don't know what happened to it.
Oh, what a shame.
I know, I would have loved that one. But this one I got one. Yeah.
That's good. Okay. Did you play any sports?
Organized sports, no. No.
Just with the boys
Out in the fields.
out in the town?
Yeah.
Okay. And did you play a musical instrument?
Well, the nuns did at one occasion. It was right not too long before I left school. They decided we would learn, and they started teaching us the accordion and harmonica, and I'm not sure if there was any others in there. And then at Christmas, this was the first year that they did it. They had an organized like a concert, and they bought a gift for every child in the town. I don't know who organized it or how it came about, but we were up on a big flatbed truck and playing all the Christmas carols, and then we rode around town playing them. But they called every child, and every child in town got a gift. We were too old, but I guess it was under the age of 10 or something like that. But every child got a gift. I don't know if they continued with that, but that one year they did it, I know. And it was wonderful. So I learned to play the harmonica because I couldn't afford accordion. And I'm not musical. But I can play the harmonica.
Now, going to school with the nuns, did you wear a uniform?
No, we didn't wear a uniform. No. I think they would have liked us to, but no, it wasn't required.
And when you made your communion and your confirmation, were those big events in your life?
Oh, yes, yes. I can remember my communion, how terrified I was. Going to confession, my first confession, I was counting 1, 2. Took me a long time to get out of that one. But I do remember it vividly, and I remember my confirmation because they came around and asked you one question on the Bible, I guess, or your catechism, and I was so petrified I was going to fail it, not know it. They tell me I couldn't do it because it was every 4 years. They only did it every 4 years.
So how old were you when you made your confirmation?
I don't remember how old I was, but probably around 12 or 13. Yeah. And I wore a cherry red coat, and my mom knit me a hat, like a berry, with white Angora wool and a little red sequin. Not a lot, just one here and one there. Yeah, and I hated it.
But it was pretty.
It was pretty, but I didn't like my dress, and I wouldn't open my coat. And I had a black patent leather bag and patent leather shoes. I remember. Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to switch gears again. And you're living in England, and you're a married woman, and you have children. When you decided to leave England and come to the United States, how did you choose to travel?
We came on to Queen Elizabeth II. It was like a year. I'd only been in service about a year. And because we wanted to bring as much as we could with us, we decided to come by boat, and that was the boat ship.
Did you
Yeah.
leave from Southampton?
We left from Southampton. Yeah. The first time I'd ever been on an airplane was like 7, maybe 8 years later when we went back home for our first visit. And that was my first plane ride. But we came over here by ship. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what was your last view of England as you were leaving?
Well, it was in the middle of the day, so it was just a shoreline.
And could you see Ireland as you went by?
Unfortunately, they had a bomb scare, so we were supposed to actually pull into Ireland, but we didn't. We went right across the channel to Le Havre, France, and we stopped there. But we were supposed to, but there had been a bomb scare, and my sister was supposed to come on board, and we had applied for a pass for her to come on board to see us off, the whole family actually, and it didn't arrive until the day after we sailed. So she was very disappointed because all she wanted to do was see the inside of the ship. But because of the bomb scare, they wouldn't make any exceptions at all. So we did not pull into Ireland, and we didn't see Ireland. We stayed out, and we just went across the channel to France.
Oh.
Yeah, and by that time it was evening. We just saw the people, it was getting dark. And we saw everybody getting on and them loading cars and stuff on, and then we sailed from France. Yeah.
And where did you land in the United States?
In New York.
In New York. So what were your first impressions as you were sailing into New York Harbor?
Oh, it was wonderful. We'd had a very bad crossing. We actually had to go 100 miles off course. What is it they have at sea? Tornadoes? Hurricanes? Hurricanes at sea. We had to go 100 miles off course. So the day we left England was beautiful, and the day we arrived in New York was beautiful, but the rest of the time we had to stay inside the ship. We couldn't go out on the deck at all because of the high winds, and so it was a rough crossing. I'm a good sailor.
How long did it take you to sail?
5 days.
5 days.
Yeah, yeah. We left on the 10th of September and we arrived on the 15th.